Many people argue that Clash Royale is mostly a skill-based game, which I agree, but you cannot deny that there are some things in the game that are entirely dependent on probability. So this got me thinking, what are some events that are theoretically possible in Clash Royale, but so rare that they are basically impossible? And before I get comments about this, all the math in this video was done by me, so please let me know if there is any error that I've made and I'll make a pinned comment. True blue versus true red is something that occurs due to how the coordinate axis is slightly mirrored off center when a player is decided as the blue or red player. True blue or red is something that's decided at the beginning of a match. For example, if a player is decided as the true blue player, they keep the normal coordinate axis. But if a player is decided as true red, they get the mirrored coordinate axis. The reason this is important is because from the perspective of every player, they are blue. But as far as the game's code is concerned, they may in reality be either truly blue or truly red, which is where the name true blue and true red comes from. But this got me thinking, isn't it theoretically possible that a player will always be a true blue? The probability of a player in any given match being true blue is 50%. Now, if we take a player starting from 0 trophies and assume that they play up to 10,000 trophies, where they get 30 trophies per win on average, and if we also take their win rate to be just above 50%, the player needs 333 wins to get to 10k trophies, which means they need to play 667 games at a minimum to make it to 10,000 trophies. The probability of a player being true blue in every single one of these matches is therefore going to be 0.5 to the power of 667, which means that there is this probability that you will always be the true blue player. This logic also applies if you are decided as the true red king, since again, both true blue and true red have the same chance of occurring. In this hypothetical scenario, there are some interactions that this player would experience that maybe to them would just be a wild coincidence, like the different placement of certain cards. Okay, I'm recording this one after hearing about the new update, since the entire video was recorded before the update. But basically, Clash Royale added yet another RNG-based reward system with the hero chest and hero fragments. And I say RNG for this, because they didn't make it so that you are guaranteed to get a new hero or something that you already don't have, like they did with the Evo box. They made the probability of obtaining each hero the same for every time you get to 200 hero fragments, which is so unfair, since it means you can get duplicates, which don't even fairly compensate you.
Did y'all hear that hero shards are going to be 200 for the heroes? And then if you unlock the same hero and you don't have them all unlocked, you could potentially unlock the same hero twice in a row, get a duplicate and not unlock like a musketeer hero, and the duplicate only gives you 60 out of 200 shards. Like, what is the reasoning with that? It's going to be impossible to collect every single hero in the game unless you actually spend money.
So this got me thinking, what is the probability of getting a unique hero for every single try? Essentially what I mean is the chance of getting a unique hero every time you get to 200 fragments. Currently, there are 4 heroes that you can get from these chests. So the chance of getting a unique hero on the first try is 100%. And then on the second try, the chance of getting a unique hero is 75%. And then on the next try, it's 50%. And then on the next try, it's 25%. It kind of sucks that they made it random, because it punishes players who unlock more hero fragments, which is a really bad move from Supercell, since it makes it less preferable to grind more for hero boxes in the long run. But either way, the probability of you managing to get all 4 unique heroes in 4 consecutive tries is around 9%, which is actually not bad. But the thing is, the more heroes they add to the game, the less likely this will become, especially as you reach closer to unlocking all of the heroes. The next thing I wanted to see was the chance to get 4 5-star hero boxes in a row, and also get unique heroes every single time. Since we've already calculated the 9% chance to get 4 unique heroes, we just need to calculate the chance of getting 4 consecutive 5-star hero boxes. And to up the stakes, let's suppose that we were considering it starting from the lowest rarity, a 2-star hero box. The chance of a single 2-star hero box upgrading to a 5-star is 1%. So the chance of getting 4 hero boxes going up from 2-star up to 5-star is this number. So if we bring these two together, the probability of a random player being able to get 4 5-star hero boxes in a row and also get a unique hero every time they exchange 200 fragments for a random hero is this number, which means it's safe to say that there is not a single player who will be lucky enough to have this kind of probability, as we would expect that 1 in 1 billion players will have this type of luck, which far exceeds the actual player count of Clash Royale. But what if we considered a very unlucky player? The chance of getting the same hero 4 times after exchanging 200 fragments is this number, since the first hero has a 100% chance of being chosen. 1000, and then choosing a duplicate on consecutive rolls is 25% for each roll. Then, what if none of a certain player's hero box is upgraded even at all? What I mean here is, what if every hero box stayed at 2-star? The probability of a hero box not upgrading at all is 34%. To get to 200 fragments, a player would need to open 40 of these boxes at a minimum, since each box only has 5 fragments. So to get enough fragments to get to 4 heroes at a minimum, the player would need to open 160 boxes. Then, the chance of getting only 2-star drops is this number. If we bring these two together, the chance of a player being extremely unlucky and only getting 2-star hero boxes and being screwed over by RNG and only getting the same hero 4 times is this number. And if you were to get super unlucky and exchange 200 hero fragments 10 times and get the same hero in every single one of these, the chance of this happening is this number, assuming that you already had enough hero fragments unlocked, which is super rare, but not out of the question. In fact, we can actually expect that 1 in 1 million players will get this unlucky, which is actually insane, and it shows how bad the duplicate system really is, since there are at least 20 million active players on this game. So, on average, 20 people would get majorly screwed over in this hypothetical scenario. I wouldn't have an issue with it if we were at least refunded 75% of the hero shards, but the fact that only 30% of the hero shards are refunded without any fault from the actual player is outrageous. The Graveyard is the only RNG-based card in the game. The way it works is that within the spell's 4-tile radius, a skeleton has a random chance of spawning anywhere on the outside ring, as shown in this image from Abdod's video on card placements.
Most players are under the impression that a graveyard spawns skeletons completely at random, which is only partially correct. What I mean by this is that skeletons only spawn around the circumference of the circle, aka they don't spawn in the middle area.
But this is only for a center place graveyard. When you place part of the graveyard out of the arena, the skeletons can begin to spawn in the center, but the spawning area is still the same. So assuming that the ring is 1 tile wide, the spawning area of the graveyard is around 7 pi square tiles. The graveyard spawns a skeleton every 0.5 seconds after a short initial 2.2 second delay of the spell's radius showing. Which means that over its 9-second duration, a total of 13 skeletons spawn. Now, each skeleton can stay alive for around 0.7 to 0.8 seconds if it is being targeted by the Princess Tower. So we can assume that if a skeleton spawns at any part of a tile, it has the same chance of surviving. When we bring everything together, this means that if the graveyard is placed most optimally, we have this small area here where a skeleton spawns in such a position that it is guaranteed that they will hit the tower. The probability of a single skeleton being able to spawn here is approximately 46.43%. Therefore, it is actually possible for all 13 skeletons to spawn in this area, which would give a probability of around 0.00466%, which to be honest is not out of the question. It actually means that if a player plays 21,468 graveyards, we would expect that one of them would have every single skeleton spawn directly on the tower. And if we look at it from the other way around, there is approximately this chance that a skeleton will spawn in a position where it dies before it hits the tower, which means that there is a 0.03% chance that a graveyard is completely useless. Keep in mind here that these calculations are assuming that a graveyard isn't being tanked for, so this theoretical probability isn't actually that unrealistic, but it's something that I wanted to talk about, since as I said before, there isn't any other card in the game that's as RNG as the graveyard. In Clash Royale, there is a random deck generator button which allows you to randomly generate a deck. As of November 2025, there are 164 cards including their evolution in Clash Royale. The number of normal cards when we don't consider evolutions is 125. It is entirely possible for you to click the random deck generate button and generate a deck that you actually want. This probability, however, is extremely unlikely, but it's still theoretically possible. Calculating this is going to be really challenging, since there are certain requirements with decks, such as the fact that there can only be one champion per deck, and there can be variations of the same deck, where one can have an evolution and one will not have an evolution. But these decks are technically different, so please let me know in the comments if I've made a mistake. At the end, I'm just going to multiply the answer I get by 4 to account for the 4 tower troops in the game as well. Also, this calculation is assuming that a player has all cards unlocked. I think the best way to calculate this is to calculate the probability of a deck not having a champion, and then find the probability that it will have a champion, and add add up these probabilities. And we'll do the same for having an evolution in the Evo slot versus not having an evolution in the Evo slot. So overall, we have 4 scenarios. A deck with Evos in the correct place and a champion, a deck with Evos in the correct place and no champion, a deck with no Evos and a champion, and a deck with no Evos and no champions. I'm gonna use combinations here instead of permutations, because we don't care about the order in which a card is selected. So basically, this means that we can exclude the selections where a specific card may end up in slot 5 or slot 6, even if they have the exact same cards. The probability of a deck having Evos in the correct slots and a champion is this number, because we choose 2 Evos from a possible 39 Evos, and then we choose 1 champion from a possible 8 champions, and then we choose the remaining 5 cards from a possible 118 remaining cards. The reason I'm doing 118 here is because we have to exclude the 39 Evos and we also have to exclude the 7 remaining champions from this selection. The probability of a deck having Evos in the correct slot and no champion is this number, because we have to do the same 39 choose 2 calculation for the Evos, and then 8 choose 0 for the champion, and then 117 choose 6. This time it's 117 because we're excluding all 8 champions this time for the remaining picks. The probability of a deck having no Evos but having a champion is this number, because we choose 0 Evos from 39, and then we choose 1 champion from 8, and then we do 118 choose 7, since again, we want to exclude the 7 remaining champions from this selection. The probability of a deck having no Evos and no champions is this number, because we choose 0 Evos from 39, and then we choose 0 champions from 8, and then we do 117 choose 8, because we're excluding all 8 champions for the remaining picks. So adding up all the possibilities we got, the probability of choosing the 8 cards in your deck is this number. If we multiply the number of events by 4 choose 1 to consider the Tower Troop, we end up with this number, which is the probability that you will end up with the deck of your choice if you randomly click generate. Assuming that you take around 3 seconds to click the generate button, this means that it would take you this long to generate the exact deck that you have in mind. It's already pretty lucky if you get featured on TV Royale, since it means that Clash Royale decided out of the tens of thousands of matches in an arena that a match that you were involved in is worthy of showing other players. We know that there are approximately 17.8 million daily active players in Clash Royale. Considering that most of the player base is in Arena 7, 8, or 9, we can assume around 25 to 30% of the player base is at this number, so around 3 million players. To be honest, the number we choose for this really doesn't matter, since the final answer is so unlikely that even if we chose 1 million, it would still be absurdly rare. A new TV Royale match is added every hour. This means that if we take 3 million players who are active over a day, we get around 150,000 players per hour. This means there is a 1 in 150,000 chance that any given player appears on TV Royale. Over a 24-hour day, assuming that the player plays at least 1 match per hour, the probability of a specific player being featured in every single TV Royale for a whole day is this number. This probability is so small that in order to achieve this, it would take this many hours of gameplay, which is equivalent to this many years. Basically, even though this event is mathematically possible, even if you left Clash Royale on for an eternity, this event would probably never happen. I think regardless of this probability, it is still a crazy accomplishment to make it to TV Royale even if it's only 1 appearance. Something that I've always thought about is if I click the battle button at the exact same time as my friend in the same arena, maybe, just maybe, we'd be able to queue each other. And it kind of makes sense if you think about it, but I've never been able to actually achieve it even though I tried my best. And it makes sense why once you consider the probability of it actually happening. If we use the same stats as before, where we assumed that there are around 3 to 4 million active players in Arena 7, 8, or 9, then we can say that at any given moment, there are approximately 500 players actively queuing. Based on that, the probability of 2 people queuing each other even if they click the button at the exact same time is approximately 0.0004%, which seems pretty likely compared to the other things we've talked about in this video. But in practice, this number is absolutely tiny. We would expect that it would take around 249,500 attempts to even get 1 successful attempt at this, which would take years of time. But theoretically, it's possible that a player can queue the exact same player for the entire day. If we assume that a player plays 20 matches a day and also queues at the exact same time as another player, 2 things which are already extremely unlikely on their own, then the probability that 2 players will always queue each other is this number, which isn't quite as rare as the TV Royale one, but it's still so rare that it's beyond human comprehension. Even if you played Clash Royale till the end of time, this isn't something that would ever be achieved, but it is mathematically possible. Chests and lucky drops are one of the only RNG based rewards in the game. Lucky chests in the current landscape of Clash Royale have 4 taps available, where each tap has the potential to upgrade the lucky drop by 1 rarity. For example, if a lucky chest starts at 1 star, then the first tap has the chance to upgrade it to 2 star, and then the second tap can upgrade it to 3 star, and then the third tap can upgrade it to 4 star, and the fourth tap can upgrade it to 5 star. And the same repeats for the other rarity lucky drops. This is why it's preferable to start at a higher rarity lucky drop like a 2 or a 3 star, because there's a greater chance of it upgrading to higher rarities. So it got me thinking, what if a player got a 5-star lucky drop for every single lucky drop in the Pass Royale for one season? If we look at the free track, there are 28 1-star lucky chests, 4 2-star lucky chests, and 1 3-star lucky drop. The probability that a 1-star lucky drop upgrades all the way up to a 5-star drop is 0.3%, which means that the probability for all 28 1-star lucky drops to be 5-star is this number, which is already extremely low. Then, the probability for a single 2-star lucky drop to upgrade to a 5-star is 1.01%, meaning that the probability of all 4 of these lucky drops being 5 stars is this number, which is huge compared to the 1-star lucky drop odds. But keep in mind, this is still extremely rare and probably not achievable even if you played every single season. The probability of the 3-star lucky drop upgrading to a 5-star lucky drop is 2.07%. And since there's only one 3-star lucky drop, we don't have to multiply anything. So if we bring everything together, the overall chance of every single lucky drop in the free track upgrading to 5 stars is this number. And much like the other theoretically possible events in this video, this event is so unlikely that even if you left Clash Royale running till the end of time, this event probably wouldn't happen. But theoretically, it is possible. But what if a player only gets unlucky drops? What I mean here is, what if every single lucky drop on the Pass Royale tiers does not upgrade, and a player only gets 28 1-star lucky drops, 4 2-star lucky drops, and 1 3-star lucky drop without any upgrades? The chance of a 1-star lucky drop not upgrading at all is 56.09%. So the chance that all 28 1-star lucky drops do not upgrade at all is this number. The probability that a single 2-star lucky drop doesn't upgrade at all is 54.41%, meaning that the probability for all 4 2-star lucky drops not upgrading is around 8.76%. The probability of the single 3-star lucky drop from the free track not upgrading at all is 43.03%. Bringing all of these probabilities together, we get that the probability that a player gets very unlucky and doesn't get a single upgraded lucky drop in the entire free pass is this number, which to be honest is not actually that rare. It means that 1 in 285 million players will be extremely unlucky. But according to some players who claim they never get upgrades, it seems to be more common than 1 in 285 million. Either way, this probability isn't actually out of the question. And to be honest, I really thought that it would be a higher number while calculating. It's actually completely reasonable for at least one active player per season to have this kind of luck, which is crazy to think about. Something that has become super common recently is the fact that the shop keeps getting more and more shop offers, and we have to scroll an increasingly larger time to get to the free section. According to Supercell, this is based on the likelihood that a player will buy a shop offer, but I don't really think this is true, as I've never bought a shop offer in my life, and yet my list looks the same as other people I've seen online. I think that even though player purchase history is a contributing factor, I think there is somewhat of a likelihood that a random shop offer will generate. Now, obviously the actual content of the shop offer is fully based on player-based data, since the game knows what you need to progress. But if we assume that a casual player buys one shop offer per week, based on my research, there is around a 15 to 30% chance that an additional random shop offer will generate in their shop per day. I think the probability is closer to 10% to be honest, since it wouldn't really make sense for it to be closer to 30%. That's why for this section, I'm gonna assume that the probability of a new shop offer showing up in your shop when you sign in every day is 10%. These shop offers last around a week, with a new offer showing up usually every day. Now, theoretically, it is possible for 100 shop offers to generate, which would be insane to see. The probability of this happening to a casual player is around this number, which is super small, but it could happen. Even if we take it as a 30% chance of an additional shop offer generating, which I think is super unlikely, the probability of 100 shop offers generating is this number. Even at 30%, the probability of 100 shop offers generating is basically nothing, but it's still a non-zero probability. Assuming that each shop offer takes around 2 seconds to scroll past, having 100 shop offers would mean that it would take over 3 minutes just to scroll past all the shop offers to the permanent shop offers, which is insane. But considering the probability, it's safe to say that this event has basically never occurred, and probably will never occur within a human lifetime. Let me know if you guys would like to see another video like this, and also let me know if I've made any mistakes. I hope you enjoyed this video though. Thanks for watching.